My boyfriend left me behind at a stranger's house on accident. Need advice on where to go from here. Me, 20 female, and my boyfriend, 21 male, of 3 years went out for drinks last night. We are in Westhouse, so no COVID restrictions. My boyfriend saw a guy who he hasn't seen in 3 years, and he invited us to a party. We ended up back at this guy's house to wait for a taxi and I started feeling sick. My boyfriend followed me to the toilet and I said, "I'm so sick, I can't go out. Can we please just go back to yours?" And he said, "Yes, okay," and then went back outside. I came out and no one was there except the guy's mum, who said that everyone was leaving. I thought my boyfriend must just be saying goodbye, but it turns out he left with them. I was really sick by that point and decided to walk back to my BF's house, which was terrifying as a woman at 12 a.m. Unfortunately there are no Ubers here. I called my boyfriend, who hadn't realized up until then that I wasn't in the taxi with him and his friends. He said his mate told him, "Hurry up, everyone is in the taxi," so he presumed I was there too. I spent the next few hours vomiting and crying haha, until he came back at 2 a.m. and then left me again to go back to his mate's house because he apparently couldn't deal with me being so upset. I begged him to please stay, but he said he wasn't going to be gone for long. He was gone for another 2 hours. In the morning I was expecting an apology, but he started blaming it on me, saying it was my fault that I had to walk home by myself because the mum was apparently happy to drive me. My boyfriend said because nothing happened to me on my walk home I had nothing to be sad about. I continuously asked for an apology, but he wouldn't give me one because apparently I could have done so many things better. He was saying, "In 3 hours I'll feel so sorry and regretful, but I just don't right now. I feel so hurt and angry and sad that it even happened in the first place. I feel so betrayed and unwanted and mistreated." What kind of boyfriend leaves their girlfriend at a stranger's house while she's drunk and sick right after she had just said, "Can we please go home," and then doesn't notice that she's not in the taxi until 15 minutes later? And then tries to make me feel guilty over it and say it was my fault. And after all that I still can't even find it in myself to leave him. Too long did not read. My boyfriend left me drunk and sick at a stranger's house because he didn't realize I wasn't in the taxi with him and his friends. I had to walk home in the dark by myself. I'm seeking advice on where to go from here. I am not sure if I'm overreacting or if this should be considered a deal breaker. I really don't want to break up, but I feel like I have to because I'm so hurt. Huge red flags all over this. His behavior isn't okay. It's almost if he is gaslighting you. How could he not know you weren't in a taxi with him? You need to reevaluate this relationship. His lack of empathy and caring in this situation is really disturbing. I'm sorry such a horrible thing happened to you. Deal breaker, dump his ass. He's not worth it. Sounds like you got a self-centered idiot of a boyfriend who don't give a damn about your safety and cares more about having fun with his mates that seem to be the same as him. You should dump him, as I don't know anyone would do any of that to a woman. This is absolutely a deal breaker. Everything about this screams red flag. I would be gone so fast. Your feelings are 100% valid, and don't you let him convince you otherwise. You know this is unhealthy behavior, right? You don't need us to tell you to no empathize with your feelings at all and abandon you again. You shouldn't need our advice here. It's staring at you in the face. Love yourself and recognize you are worth so much more. It wasn't an accident. I can 100% believe that he thought you were already in the car with everyone else, but it would have taken him less than a second to realize you weren't there. He just didn't care. I am really sorry that you had to experience something like this. Please leave this relationship. Don't make any more excuses for him. No one deserves to be treated like this. You're not overreacting, and this should be an ex-boyfriend if he's treating you like this. I can't begin to describe on how many levels of wrong this is. Whatever instinct you have about this being bad, believe it. Don't doubt yourself for a moment. Just tell him to find some other girl who doesn't mind being treated like and %. That's heavy. Your boyfriend sounds like a dick lol, but I know how hard it can be to leave when you love someone. Have you talked while you both were sober? It sounds like all this happened when you guys were still drunk. He knew. He didn't care. You should leave him. I don't know why you hesitate to. Do you hate yourself? Your STBX only makes sense as a punishment. This is a major red flag, and honestly, if he's done this, what else would he do? I'm sorry, this guy is selfish AF. He has no regard for you whatsoever and he won't. He may feign it but it's not there. To think that he didn't care that you walked home in the dark alone. I can't believe it. Had an ex that I asked to wait for me so we could walk home together. He didn't wait. I walked home alone and was followed by some random men. When I told him, he told me I should have hurried myself up. Don't be me, break up with him now. That is a complete deal breaker, and no genuine life partner would fail to notice that their significant other was not in the car with them. That could have ended up being an extremely dangerous situation. I'm so sorry you were treated like that. Why would you beg for an apology? I don't understand that. He's not sorry. I have a friend that is always begging her boyfriend to apologize when he does something. You can't make someone be nice or treat you better. You need to decide if this is who you want to continue to give your time to. He doesn't sound like a good boyfriend. Ultimately it's up to you. You choose to let him behave this way. You deserve better. You could have been kidnapped or hurt walking alone. If you were my daughter I would be furious at this man. You had a relationship for 3 years and you learned a lot from it. Take that, thank the universe and dump his thoughtless ass and move on. He endangered you to go out and have fun. He's not a keeper. He had no regard for your safety. Tell your boyfriend to F off. What a douche canoe. At least you find out what now and not after you put more effort and time in. That's crazy, no sorry or anything, this guy needs a reality check. He's a jerk. If partying is more important to him than you, let him go party. Dump his ass, you deserve better. Be kind to yourself, get rid of him. You might be 3 years in with this guy, but if he can't handle you when you are drunk, imagine what he will be like if you decide to have kids. Imagine how he will treat you if you're dealing with morning sickness or when the kids are sick. He's selfish and turned his assholery around on you. Move on to something better and kinder. Just reading this gave me anxiety at the thought of my girlfriend being in this situation because she means everything to me. He's not a good guy or boyfriend and I really hope you find someone who treats you better. Would love to hear his side of things. Based on your story, absolutely not okay behavior. Almost unimaginably rude and dismissive to repeatedly leave you like that. OFC, you are also responsible FSIR the state you were in, but not helping you while in need would be very hard to forgive for me in your stead. It would be a deal breaker to me. Not just what he did but all the gaslighting and blame shifting later. One thing for sure. He's a total asshole. This gave me chills. This is psychopath-type behavior. He has no empathy or respect for you so all you get is blame and gaslighting. He probably set the whole thing up to have a good laugh at your expense knowing in the end there would be no consequences. Why does he keep you around if he didn't respect or care about you? People like this don't do intimacy. People exist for them as toys to use and abuse. This reminds me so much of my ex I was unfortunately with for 20 years. You might not want to break up but he left you at a stranger's house while he knew you were sick in the bathroom. When you called him to find out where he was at, he came home 2 hours later. Only to leave and party for another 2 hours. The next morning double downs on his callousness and blames you for the situation. Like, did he even apologize in the 3 hours later? What shenanigans were more important than you? Was there another woman he wanted to take his shot at? He's trying to make you feel like it's your fault. He's guilty and knows it but doesn't want to own up to it cause then he's the bad guy and has to make up for being bad but he clearly doesn't want to change or be better. He's a child and you need to dump him and move on. The fact that he didn't know his girlfriend wasn't in the taxi. How big is the fucking taxi that he didn't know? That is the deal breaker. When someone shows you who they are, believe them the first time. Maya Angelou. He definitely didn't leave you on accident. He's an asshole. Heartbreak if your boyfriend isn't treating you right. Let that mango GTFO. Another man will treat you like a crown princess crown. Leave. You are definitely not overreacting. This is an absolute deal breaker. This man cannot be relied upon when you need him, period. Just dump him honestly, you don't need this. He should have been worried about you and want to help you, not bugger off with his friends and you then walk home on your own. No, not on at all. Get a new boyfriend. This one is an asshole. If you have to ask for an apology, then that's not an apology. Dump him. He didn't even notice you weren't there, and then blames you for his leaving you behind at a strange house, and forcing you to walk home ill. That tells you everything you need to know. I'm sorry, but to me this is a deal breaker. This is a red flag and you should be clear on this matter, as there is no way that he could not be aware that you were not there in the taxi. If this happens once, then this can happen in the future too, and that too many times, and now you cannot trust him and you cannot get drunk and expect him to make sure that you are safe. Take your time to come to the terms of things and decide whether you want to continue with him after this incident or not. This is a deal breaker thing for me for many reasons, as there are things that we should never tolerate in the relationship and it is one of them. Now you have to make sure that you drink responsibly, as you need to be always in your full control, otherwise this could put you in trouble too, as these days we should not trust people on streets. He didn't accidentally leave you at all. Where to go? Out the door. Not only did this jackass do the unimaginable and leave you at a stranger's house, he added insult to injury several times by continuing to be a sucky person for the rest of the evening. Then, the crowning achievement of turning the tables on you. Bravo! Your boyfriend has reached the level of maximum doucheness. Dump this child and find a man worthy of you. Your whole relationship was compressed into one night. You were in stress, your boyfriend left you to deal with it on your own. You took care of yourself despite the danger. He gaslighted you to make it all your fault, and he refuses to accept any responsibility for what happened. Is that the life you want to live? Because if you stay with this self-centered dick, that's exactly what you can expect going forward. This is clearly a boyfriend that is not on the same page as you. He wants to party to the point that he leaves you behind and ignores the fact that you're sick. Huge red flags. Very immature behavior on his part. Did the mom offer to bring you home? Your boyfriend has shown you who he really is. Believe him. You are not overreacting. And yes, this is a deal breaker. He sounds like a total loser. I know this means nothing to people, but really, you are very young, and you still have tons of youth ahead of you. Dump this idiot while you can. No need to think of the past 3 years as a waste if you had fun up until now. Just get out of there. I'll tell you what type of boyfriend does that, an ex. As everyone took a taxi, I guess everyone, including you and your boyfriend, were drunk, not with the best judgment. Mistakes can happen. I don't really understand how you had to walk back home if taxis are available in the area, but I'm happy the whole ordeal was more fears than anything else. No matter what you decide to do with your boyfriend, please always put your own safety first. Don't drink too much and always have money or a way of transportation, even if you go to some places with friends. Take care. Fuck that noise. Maybe it's just me, but when I'm in a relationship I'm protective of my lady's well-being, as most normal dudes are, I'm assuming, lol, and I'm sure as hell not going to leave her alone drunk and sick alone at a stranger's house. Again, fuck that noise. Dump his ass yesterday. Also, unless they were in a in my opinion taxi with tons of other folks and no fucking light, how the hell did he not realize you were missing? I'm calling baloney.